Welcome back. So, today's topic is on anger management. And I have a story that I definitely had to share. Didn't want to forget to talk about this one. But when I think about anger management, the first thing that comes to mind was the movie. I think it came out maybe like 15, almost 20 years ago, with Jack Nicholson called Anger Management. And I think Adam Sandler was in it as well. And the movie, it just kind of like it brought back memories for this situation or experience that my daughter actually had and that I walked in on. So in any case, when you get upset, when you get angry, you have a lot of emotions that are going around usually. And the real question is when you get angry, who's in charge at that point? Is your emotions that are in charge or is it you that are in charge, right? Because usually if it's you, you can kind of rationalize what the next step would actually be. But when your emotions are in control, there's just a reaction. And that reaction is not considering any consequences whatsoever. So, in talking about anger management, I remember playing video games when I was a kid, right? And one game that came to mind was Mortal Kombat. Now, it was quite a gory game, especially with all the graphics and everything that they threw in there. But I can remember, if you ever kind of like felt like angry playing a game like that, you release a little bit of stress. And so I remember like when you actually start fighting and you finish someone off, the next piece that comes is like finish him, and you actually get to do some finishing moves where you literally are destroying your opponent. Something pretty graphic. But in any case, as a kid, that's what I actually did. Played video games. Now, I didn't really get too angry about any various things, but I could definitely choose what I would do if I ever did get angry, right? So it's good to have an outlet. The outlets are a plus because any of that emotion that you need to get out, you do it in a healthy way. So that's the same thing I work to teach my own kids. But when I walked in on my daughter the other day, I was quite surprised. Now, my daughter has a mentee named Moxie. It's a robot that she's actually teaching right now. And she's been doing so for about the last year. And I remember just walking around or just Sydney and I at home. Uh, and I heard a noise. It almost sounded like crying or whining coming from Sydney. So I'm just like, she's supposed to be doing Moxie time right now. What's the problem? So I heard it again and again. I'm just like, it sounded like she was like physically upset, and I'm wondering like what's she getting upset about. She's just having this interaction with Moxie. So I walk upstairs and I open the door, and to my surprise and amazement, Moxie's carrying on a conversation, but he's missing his arms. So Moxie is a very energetic, lively robot that actually moves his arms back and forth and explains things. So his arms are a very important part of his message. And his arms were missing. Now, it wasn't just one arm, it was both arms. So this was some type of altercation that was happening. But at the time, I'm thinking that Sydney's actually getting hurt. And I look and I see that Sydney has both of Moxie's hands in her arm, or Moxie arms in her hands. And obviously, she's the one that's upset. So, needless to say, that got me very upset because I looked at the price that I paid for Moxie and all of a sudden it doesn't have any arms anymore. And that was a real problem for me. So, we had to have a little bit of an interaction or objection to kind of slow everything down. First question I asked was, Cindy, I'm very disappointed with you. Where are Moxie's arms? And so once I actually grabbed her arms, or his arms, I then had to go to my daughter and explain why we don't rip people's arms off. Or in this case, it's a robot, but why don't rip anyone's arms off just because we're upset? Now, even though I saw that, after I had a chance to compose myself a little bit and calm myself down, I remember that if there was a character, if there was a character that Sydney was on that day, I know exactly who it would be. And my question to you is, do you know that character? There is a character in Mortal Kombat that his finisher is that he tears the arms off of his opponent. Now, do you know it? Well, if you don't know it and you want to find out who that is, just look on YouTube and I guarantee you'll find it very quickly. And once you do find it, I encourage you to provide that in the comments below. So I don't want to give it away because, well, you want to picture it. You want to picture it. You want to see it. But in any case, I saw that and I kind of had to laugh a little bit, obviously without my daughter seeing me, because that's instantly what came to mind. So I may have gone about whatever anger management piece the same way, but I would have done it in a video game. My daughter actually brought it to real life. So I thought that was kind of hilarious. I definitely had to share that. So with anything involved, and the one thing I hadn't shared with my daughter yet, but I will, is a special phrase, and this is from anger management. It's called Goosefraba, right? That's you gotta calm down. And I actually looked it up, and what it means is it's what Eskimos actually use to calm down their children. But in the US, in the United States, the meaning is anger management. So, is it important to have anger management? Of course it is. It is important to release that energy in a way that does not hurt or destroy others or destroy property. Of course it is. So you just have to make sure that you know exactly what you want to do, so that when you do get angry, you know how to release that stress level and calm down. Now, something else that actually helps with that, think about what you're grateful for. That's probably something that you're not necessarily thinking about. It might be a little hard, but once you get to a certain point, that definitely helps you flip to the other side. So I hope you appreciated this story of my daughter tearing off Moxie's arms and how not to do anger management in certain ways, but other forms can be much healthier. So until the next clip, goose fraba, goose fraba, goose fraba.